your late night show on Signature Television. I am Vin Martin Obiora Ilo, and always glad to know that you're waiting for this program and that we start it together. Tonight, I have a very, very exciting guest. Yes, permit me to say that, a very, very exciting guest. Someone who has contributed so much to the entertainment industry in Nigeria. He's one of those faces that's very recognizable, both in Nigeria, all over Africa, and permit me to say, across the world. My guest will be 70 in less than an hour. He has traversed the movie world, and at 70, he has accepted to tell us his story. My guest tonight is Nkem Owoh, Osuofia. Nkem.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you in our studio.
My pleasure.
Thank you. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll look at the trending stories tonight. You're watching Full Day, your late night show on Signature TV. Nkem, glad to have you.
A pleasure to be here.
A long time.
Long time, really. A long time, really.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good by the grace of God.
How does it feel to be 70? And don't give me that line that you've
I'm not
that you've not been 70 before.
You know that was what, for the fact that you know that was going to be my answer. Well, feeling 70 is by the grace of God. So I feel, even at 60, I started feeling happy that checking the lifespan of an average Nigerian or average African generally, which is about 30, 40 something, you know, for me to move further is a kind of blessing. So I feel elated, I feel happy that I'm 70 and still healthy.
Is there something you didn't do in the last 70 years you'd like to do now?
Oh yes, of course. Oh yes, of course. You know, there's something in life. As you're living, your other pictures are opening up for you. So when people at 70 were saying life starts at 70, I didn't understand them. People at 60 will say life starts at 60. People at 50 will say life starts at 50. It's when you go to that very echelon, when you get to that floor, like the 7th floor, which I am in now.
You will be in another hour, in less than an hour.
I was.
Oh, really?
Yes, I marked it, and then I'm going to celebrate it.
Oh.
This is the celebration that we're doing on April 11th. It was marked on February 7th.
Oh.
So it is plus. In fact, I'm
70 plus.
I'm over 70.
You know, you and I come a very long way.
Yes.
I remember those years at NTA when we were part of the Ikoro and
That's
some
right.
of these other drama.
Struggling.
I remember Ikoro, both of us wrote a number of scripts.
That's right.
But, you know, what was instructive was even then, you were more interested in writing scripts.
That's right.
Than, you know, acting. So at what point did you change your mind?
You are very correct. I was more interested in writing then. Should I say I was stage shy or something? Because it never occurred to me that I could make it in front of the camera rather than behind the camera. But when I was enjoying script writing, I could stay 2 days writing. You know, and it makes me aware, always aware, and it makes my brain sharp. If I'm walking along the road and there is something that excites me, that I think that this thing will have to, I think I'll have to note this thing down. It's going to help me in future. I write it down immediately. Even if I'm in a transport vehicle going somewhere, I was always with my pen and my jotter. I would jot the thing down. And I found out that it helped me so much in my creative world. When I wanted to do something, and you know, script writing is something else. When you write to a stage, it will get stuck. When you go to the jotter, you will see it again. It will reopen. Then you will see the link that will link you to the next creative sentence, and I'll continue. So I continued like that until people started pressuring me. In fact, I should say it's pressure. Because walking behind the camera with the colleagues, the crew, is exciting. It was then. It is still exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. So I prefer cracking jokes behind the camera then than in front of the camera. So they started telling me, look, we're enjoying your jokes in front of the camera or behind the camera. Why don't you bring the thing in front of the camera so that it becomes worldwide or, well, nationwide, whichever. I wasn't giving it a serious thought, but somewhere along the line, I had to obey them, because when somebody talks the same thing, this person said something, and that person said the same thing, at a stage you begin to reflect on it.
So that was how you came in front of the camera?
That was how I came in front. In fact, they had to push me. We were presenting Youth Forum. I think it was Youth Forum they used to call it then. When they said, look, I was doing my funny things behind the camera. And they said, look, the producer said, come in front of this and do this thing. Like joke. I didn't know they were recording it. I came in front of the camera, and I was fulfilling myself, you know, to the benefit of the people who are watching. I didn't know that they were going to record it. They recorded it, and they showed it in the next episode of Youth Forum. And people were, wow. I said, what's this? In my place, they would say, Onzuzu ene Zuzu. You know. But people bought it, and I saw that the thing was, well, as a natural human being, I have to put my head where my pillow is.
And that was the beginning?
Yeah, that was the beginning. So, you know, from there, I never stopped. And as I was going, some other more serious theater groups or television drama groups were calling me to come and do it, because they have seen some of the snipers of the thing I did, and I obliged them. I started coming in front of the camera. Gradually, I was still writing, to be honest with you.
And acting.
So what I did was, okay, since people now appreciate me somehow in front of the camera, if I was writing, I like to put small parts, for me, you know, since people liked it. And I was doing this, they said, no, my friend, leave this your pen and come in front of the camera fully. I obliged.
And you started enjoying it?
I started enjoying it, honestly. Anybody at a stage checking what I did, what was supposed to be my profession, or how do I put it, my vocation, well, whatever,
career,
my
or
career,
vocation, or
exactly,
profession.
So I just put those things behind me and started being serious in front of the camera.
Let's move it forward. And then Nollywood happened.
Nollywood happened,
and you were there at creation.
We happened to Nollywood. It didn't just happen to us.
So how did you get involved in Nollywood?
Well, I was watching this Michael Rihedima. To be honest, they were the people who initially influenced me into doing this very comedy for people to see. They come to me, probably a charger market or all this, and they will go on top of a drone or anything, and then
start performing.
And people in the market were, they won't get about it. So somebody who was a smart businessman then called them and said, look, let's not give this free for people again. Because what they were doing, I think, was they finished performing. Many people were just throwing in small money dash. you know. So when they started canning the thing, it was no longer an open thing. So they started making small money. Within that period, the man called me, the man who was producing them or sponsoring them, called me in Onisha and said, I would want you to give pep, because I heard that you're a very good writer, to pep up this thing so that we'll see how far it's going to go. I said, okay, fine. So the very first script I wrote for the pair contained some, well, they regarded it as sophisticated things. You know, I put supermarket here, I put contact with the police people and all. The people felt, no, the actors said it was too much. You are trying to Europeanize this. Let us see. We want to continue to do it in the indigenous manner that they created it from. Well, the man said, yes, so this is what they. I said, well, this is what I don't want to stay at a place. If I'm going to be involved in this, it has to go.
You need to elevate it.
Then he said, okay, fine. I started writing. In fact, he said I should go and write one good script. I was writing that script when he called me again. I said, look, there's another script that has come up. While we wait for that your own, could you help do this very one and maybe restructure the script and then act in it? I looked at it. I said, okay, fine. That was the second film that came on. That was Circle of Doom. After living in bondage.
Was it before? It was okay. It was after living in bondage.
Immediately after living in bondage. But in living in bondage, even they called me. By that time, I was a production manager for Bassey and Company.
Yes.
Under Kesara. So I couldn't leave the thing to come. They said I should come to Lagos and all. I said, no, don't worry. You said I should come and do the subtitling. I will create time and come. But for me to leave this job and then come to hang around in Lagos, you know, for whenever you're ready to shoot a film, I wasn't going to do it. Well, they allowed me. I finished the subtitling. I did that Circle of Doom. I created time. When they wanted to shoot it, I went to Lagos and we shot that. And honestly, after that...
Did you act in Circle of Doom?
I acted in Circle of Doom, but it wasn't such a prominent part. But all of us that time, we were all waiting because we didn't know where we were going. We were just interested in getting this film, drama for people to hear and all that, and getting popular along the line. So I did
Taboo?
Taboo. No, not even. Yeah, Taboo was the third one. After the Circle of Doom, I went and I furnished the script I was writing for that man. And it was later I found out he paid me and then took the script. But it was later I heard that he fell out with the people who even suggested me, his crew that were there ready to, you know, produce for him. So that died. A very beautiful script that, you know, puts that one in the cooler. Then Taboo came on, and I was called. Actually, I was in Badagry with Chris Obirapo. Chris was, I met him when he came to direct New Masquerade
in Enugu.
In Enugu, and he stayed for a very long time. In fact, he lived in Enugu, so I was close to the house. So I was writing for New Masquerade then, you know, writing for other, you know, things. So when Chris went to Lagos, there was one program that he created. It was a new program then. He said he wanted me to come. Memorial Hospital. He said I should come and, you know, so I was inducted into the team of Memorial Hospital writers. So I started writing, you know. It was while I was in Badagry that the Taboo came on. Dan Oluibo and one Tony White Meribe, they brought that script in just small piece of paper. And they said they have found sponsors for this story. I looked at the story, I said, is this the story you're doing? So how are we going to act it? Even though all of us were guessing, but I had moved further in writing, so I should know better than they knew then. Chris now said, okay, fine, so you handle the concept, see what you can do. I read the whole thing, juicy, even though it was the conceptual stage. I called Chris, I said, look, I'm going to do some research to get this thing, particularly when I saw Osu caste system into it, in the script. So I left. He gave me some money. I went to Nsukka UNM to do some research. I went to all the libraries. I went to see, what was his name again? I think he was one of the researchers on Igbo culture.
Do they still do stuff like that now?
I doubt if they do it. If not, if they were doing it, we wouldn't be seeing some of the things that were,
okay, your story is a long one when we talk about the movie industry in Nigeria.
Yes.
So we need to, go from one place to the other. So, Ikuku.
Yes.
Was that movie that thrust you in the public eye?
Yes.
And I think that was the first place you answered Osuofia.
Yes, that was the first place I answered Osuofia. But that was in film development. For stage, I answered that very Osuofia because during the ATV era and the NTA then, we had a group, stage group, myself, the one they call Barako, and then we assembled ourselves to say we're going to do this. So I wrote a script, a very short script, where I answered, I took the character of Osuofia, So when I think I fell out with one group. My wife acted in that story, in that theme, but somewhere along the line, the relationship between myself and the people who are producing it wasn't so juicy, so I left. And it was that zeal in me that why should somebody come? I felt I understood what I wanted to do more than this person was trying to correct me.
So
out of annoyance, I went to write my own script.
Did you write Ikuku?
Yes, I wrote Ikuku.
Did you produce Ikuku?
No, I didn't produce Ikuku. I was the writer, I was the coordinator, and I was the artistic director. And
so Osuofia caught fire. When
Osuofia came, when I wrote Ikuku, I used that Osuofia, like I told you now, I used Osuofia as the main character. And from there, I started cooking some of those things, and the public bought it. I said, look, Onzuzuma, pardon my language, that people who bought into it. I said, okay, so who am I not to give them what they want? I started writing Ikuku. After writing Ikuku 1, I wrote Ikuku 2. That time, we didn't have a lot of technicians or technocrats in this, who knows the craft of television or audiovisual generally. So we just go to radio stations or television stations and then steal one or two of their workers, to
come out and do it.
And I found out that time that I was almost doing everything, because even those people that we are trying to pull out from the mainstream television, this thing, were not so good at what we wanted to do. In fact, they were even surprised. What do you think it was? They were using the format of television production. But what we wanted was to get something new. That was what I wanted. Then I managed. I finished Ikuku 1, called some of my friends. They helped in certain this thing. I finished Ikuku 1. And as I wasn't the person who sponsored it, I just took the script to one of the marketers in Onitsha. They were so skeptical. I don't want to go and invest my money. And I give them kudos. When you're able to convince them and they see that this guy is so sure of what he was going to do, they will face you.
So they funded it?
They funded it. So I finished the thing, and the very first week, normally they give you the money you know, to do the production, and they give you part of your money as the person who is producing it for them. But I said, the man said, I cannot just, I said, look, hold all the money that I'm going to do artistic directing. I was going to co-direct it. In fact, I directed it. I brought a co-director because I didn't want to go. I promised him it was going to be good, that let me use that very one as collateral. Hold this.
And when it became a hit, what happened?
The first week, my decision is, I wrote in the agreement, if after 2 months you don't make your money, do it. After first 4 days, he called me. I said, come to Onisha. I said, what happened? He said, this thing is selling. He was so
excited.
So excited. I went to Onisha. That money that was supposed to stay till 2 months, he gave it to me. Once I said, look, prepare another one, you know. You know the opportunity of our people. What's this thing that's an open here? He wanted to usurp the thing, in fact, to monopolize it before the others, you know. So when I get to him, he never wanted me to discuss with any of the marketers again, or rather the people in the market who are sponsoring. I stayed for him. He said, okay, fine. As soon as I said, finish UKWA now, let us exploit it to the end before we now do Ikuku2. He said, no, we're going to start preparing Ikuku2 because the money was coming.
So, Osuofia in London.
Yes.
That was another big one for you.
Another big one. Before I did Osuofia in London, I did Osuofia in London on radio.
Okay.
With Uche Ogbuagu. Before the television, the film. So I was doing it. It's still comedy. But you see, the surprising thing is that even the bag I was holding, like that, well, they call it UKWA bag now in Zambia. And it's very popular in Zambia. So when time I go to Zambia, I say, I see UKWA. And they say, look, we have UKWA bag here, you know. So I was still holding it. We took the picture with which we advertised it on the jacket of those audio cassettes. So that one was good. And I was looking for somebody I could collaborate with and then do these things.
Until you met a soulmate.
Until I met a soulmate, yes.
Who understood exactly what you wanted to do.
So when I talked with Kingsley Ogoro, he was just saying, there is a friend. In fact, I was editing most of my works in his studio. So we got to know ourselves. I said, look, I want to do this. If you can. He said, look, if you want, let's develop this very story and go and shoot it in London. I said, yeah, now you're talking. Because all the people I've been meeting, we are not willing to go to London and then say, because, you know, the thing was just coming up then. What they wanted was, what is good is you can see some people who are white people, like Chinatown or Chinese restaurant, go where you can see a few white people, pretend that that's Europe. And let us just shoot our film.
And you were phenomenal in that
oh yes,
in that movie. I still believe that most of the things you did were not in the script.
They were not. They were not. Coupled with the fact that I wrote the script, so the concept and everything is in my head. So
tell me about how some of the things happened. I mean, there was this scene, I can't forget that.
Yes.
You and the pigeons.
Yes.
And they were telling you that it was unlawful to and you were asking them if the pigeon was complaining.
The pigeon wasn't complaining. To me, I didn't want to know the law. What I was trying to do was just let people have fun.
Yeah.
So you said, what was the pigeon? Don't you know it's against the law for you to come here catching pigeons and all that? I said, the pigeon is not complaining. So what's your headache? You know, so...
And then I remember the scene where a couple was... I think they were
okay,
jogging.
yeah, jogging, yes. I went to their center. In fact, I didn't give them any notice. You see, my costume then had already condemned me, because it was like a half madman's costume. And from their view there, some of the Africans that their heads are not sitting very well on their shoulders roam the streets. So they counted me among those people. So any nonsense you do, they will accept it. You know, I went into the day and that was my. I said, "Oh, you people are jogging, physical." They said yes. You know, they were catching fun. They didn't know that we were shooting.
You were shooting.
I was recording. I went to the Buckingham Palace, and did all the things I did.
You saw. I remember you saw the guards.
Exactly, and I was
had a conversation.
Thank you. I had a conversation, and I said, "Look, I was even shouting. You see how stupid I was. I was even shouting for them to know that I'm a madman, so that they don't come disturbing us much, you know." So, as I was in, one police officer came and he was serious, and I saw the seriousness of his face. I said, "Look, Nkem Owoh, we're in trouble. If you don't find any way to use this your comedy and save yourself, you're in the gallows." I said, "Okay." So when they were, before the man could get close to me, I said, "Are these people human beings?" "It's 3. You put 3 inside this." And the man laughed. I said, no, that wasn't a 3. They were police suit. I said, "Human being stand like this and they don't move." He said, I laughed. The man was happy. He went strolled away. It was a police officer.
And left you alone.
Yes. And there was one other lady. They were partying, you know, they kept sightseeing somewhere close to the Buckingham Palace. And I went to her. I said, "Button my shirt." She looked at me. Imagine, how can this man come here and say, "Button my shirt"? I said, "Button my shirt." He looked at me. He saw the incorrectness of my head. That it's like my brain was on holiday. The woman obliged me. I started buttoning. So when he finished, I said, "Oh, you both button my shirt." And I started moving, and I was wishing, you people are doing movie, the pictures and all that and all that. I would have, by that time I had gone to where I was.
You know, a lot of film critics say your ad-libbing prowess was just something else. In a lot of your movies,
yes,
you brought in things that were not really there, and you made it feel like it was there.
Yeah, I think that.
How did you manage?
I didn't manage. I think that was a special gift from God. There are times when we finish all these things and I come and I'm watching the film just like every other person. I laugh at that stupid man that I represented in the film. You know?
So tell me the difference between that stupid man,
yes,
and Nkem Owoh.
No, they are two different people. In fact, they are so divorced that the two of them,
there's no relationship.
There's no relationship between the two, because the other one, you are doing it to influence people or to, you know, entertain people, let me say. But when you do carry that you do, that you do in front of the camera and bring it behind the camera, and you do behind the camera, bring it in front of the camera, then you're a madman.
But tell me, isn't Nkem Owoh a serious-minded human being?
Good, and that's where that was what I told you, and that was why I said I divorced the two. Very serious-minded human being. So when people want to relate me to that man, that drunk they see on TV, I refuse.
You resist it.
I'll resist it.
Tell me about your wife.
Yes.
In Osuofia in London. I mean, I still remember her.
Oh yes. Yeah, oh, very charming lady, and very accommodating too. She's not that.
But she didn't continue in the movies.
She didn't come, but that movie gave her a lot of upliftment. You know, she was a singer in UK, but after doing that video, she was going about showing the people what to do in her. I learned her ranking in that.
Then let's talk about the Masters. The Masters?
The Masters, yes.
The Masters, where you were into 419.
Exactly.
Sorry, where Osuofia was into
419. Thank you for correcting it.
And, you know, there was a lot of controversy with that movie where some people said Osuofia was promoting 419.
Yes. And you see the irony of the things, fate. Some people were saying Osuofia was trying to promote 419. But the people who are involved in the fraud itself were saying, my friend, mind yourself, you're trying to expose us. So I was between the
devil and the
deep blue sea, you know. So I said, okay, fine. I managed myself. So whoever you believe is, go ahead with it.
And then, of course, in that movie, you were the owner of the international airport.
Everything.
And you were the owner of the national stadium.
You know, that was when this thing has not been, 419 has not been digitalized. So there are a lot of things you have to do for picture purposes. You make it look big. Chains of cars,
yeah,
and all that. You come to the stadium and say you own it, and all that, and you arrange some people and all. Those were the kind of 419 they were doing. Very risky for someone to come and tell an Oyibo man, I own the stadium. First, they will doubt you. But when they look at the people around and the way they regard us, Africans.
I think that was about the time someone went into the central bank and posed as a central bank governor.
Thank you. So those were the kind of this thing for picture purposes,
So here you were, the government was not happy, the 419ers were not happy.
Yes.
What was the objective of that movie, from your own perspective?
The objective of that movie, what we had in mind was to warn people, this is the way 419ers do. It was a risk. 419ers then were right when they were accusing me of exposing them, because that was the intention. Tell them what to do and all that. But people thought I was bragging being a 419er, and that is in the film, that I was encouraging 419 and all that and all that.
That was not your intention at all.
It wasn't my intention. This lady used it in one of her program, as I learned. I was in France then. They said, what's this lady, this popular lady that was this thing in US?
Okay. I know the black woman.
Yes, the black woman.
I'm trying to remember her.
Yes, who even tried, Trump was trying to see if he could bring her to, when he was starting his campaign.
I remember.
I said, like,
Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey. And they said, my friends met me in France. I said, look, you cannot enter US again. I said, why? He said, they used they referred to you as somebody who
was promoting
419. And that was how I got into trouble in Netherlands, because they thought this guy that they said talked so much about has come to their place.
To come and do 419.
The impression was just to come and do 419. And they so brutalized our people, and they sent back about 180 Nigerians, or Africans generally, from the Netherlands. It didn't make me happy. So I said, okay, fine. Let me see if I could take a break from that.
But one thing that happened in that movie was that you became a musician.
Oh, yes.
Because the soundtrack was so nice.
When we were doing the film itself, I was singing that, some of the songs there. I was singing it as I was doing. So, the person who did the soundtrack, listen to it.
I think it was Stanley Okori or something.
Yes, Stanley Okori. And said, we could make this into a very big sound. And went to the owner of the thing, the executive producer. They called me and said, look, we want to extract the
soundtrack.
Yes, the soundtrack, and then develop it on its own. I agreed, and did the thing. It was fantastic. All these things we were doing, not knowing where we were going yet.
Nkem, tell me, when you look back, you're 70.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've done more than 100 movies or more.
I can't count. I don't count.
You lost count. But when you look back, which of the movies is so dear to your heart?
I'll tell you, and you'll be surprised. There was one I did, they call it King of the Jungle. That film was one of the worst economically. It didn't bring back much. But that was the story my grandmother told me when she was alive. Folk tale, folk stories like that. So I had it at the back of my mind. And I so enjoyed it when I was small and my grandmother was telling us the story. Now somebody wrote something similar to it. I didn't waste time. I developed it there. Said, okay, fine. Let us do it. So I was remembering those things that my grandmother used to say then. And I was infusing all of them into the whole thing. My perception as a small boy came to be. And I had to transform it into adult kind of things. And that film didn't make so much in the market, but I love the film so much. Whatever you say, what?
You're emotionally attached to it.
Very, 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 very attached. What's the Utobo one Geremoto? But I think that was the name I took there. You know, I don't
Now
fabricate
that you're talking about your grandmother,
yes.
let's go back now.
Okay.
Tell me about your parents. How was growing up like? And what did you learn from them?
My growing up was tough, but it was it gave me a lot of positivity. My mother was very, well, should I say meek? Very cool, you know, woman and understanding. She was a primary school teacher. And my father was a retired army from the Second World War. We were about 6 then. I was the last. So my father could, with his this, I was in fact, they used me as guinea pig for anything he wanted to do. In fact, the way I was trained was worse than an army private. You know, because whenever you come, imagine a situation where my father will be coming down, they say, Papa, Anata, window, bam. Everybody will be running. Because of the strict nature of the man, because you could see, you say, what are you doing here? It's in your house. You're just trying to say, why are you crossing from here to here? But why? And you know, so we were all, but he was being so strict. And if not the way he handled people like me, I would have, I don't think I would have been somebody meaningful, you know.
So that paid off?
He paid, that's what I'm saying. And a very astute businessman, which I grabbed. Some of those things were the attributes I got from him.
You were born...
and a very religious family, so all these things moved me. These attributes sort of tempered me down because as they did so that time, I know they hear.
I understand they were living in Nsukka.
Yes.
So you were born in Nsukka.
Yes, I was born in Nsukka.
But you are from Udi.
I'm from Udi, yes.
Okay. So did you start your primary school in...
No, I started my primary school in Nsukka. I did my secondary school in Nsukka. Then I came over to Enugu, worked for some time. In fact, before then, I was a teacher. I taught both in primary and secondary school then, in the 70s. Then I came to Enugu when I came, first of all to Ilorin, where I gained admission, University of Ilorin. From University of Ilorin, we were the pioneers. I was supposed to be
Did you finish the program?
I did not because of the things, you know. Well, I wouldn't like to talk of what happened then. But it was a new university, you know, the quota, the ratio, and all that, and all that, and all that. So we had to come back. I went to IMT and to read the same course, electrical engineering. So I graduated at IMT in electrical engineering, went for my national service, still got attached to television. You know, to me... So
you never used the screwdriver?
No. No, I was using it then while we were operating, while we were learning. If I go for my IT or other places, I was wiring my houses and, you know, my neighbor's house and all that. But that wasn't what was tugging at the sleeve of my mind.
So, movies, was it for you?
Yes.
When you look back, I mean, we met in those early years.
That's
when you were coming into the movies.
That's
and
right.
I remember that some years after that, when the movies were catching on.
That's right.
You shot a number of your movies in my house. I remember.
Very, very well. Where we used to eat and drink. I said, no, I'm in my friend's house. Let them give me food.
So, but I knew I was a little into acting at that time.
That's right.
But we were interested in the art.
Yes.
How do you compare it with today, where Nollywood is all about razzmatazz? People will rent houses and claim the houses are their own.
Yeah.
They want Lamborghinis, they want Mercedes cars,
Yeah.
they want to fly in private jets.
Yeah.
And everybody is trying to get rich quick.
Yes.
What has gone wrong in Nollywood?
The influence,
what has changed?
The influence of, as you said, one is the influence of foreign culture. Everybody wanted to Europeanize him or herself to a certain level to be accepted. So nobody cared about the culture and whatever. So you find out that most of the people who are involved, who come into Nollywood now, come into Nollywood not because of the interest and that they want to make name. It's like public relations, you want to advertise yourself so you could get other goodies. Not really, but when you see the people who
the
are
destination is not the art.
Not the art. If you tell somebody, some of those people, you want this film to win an award, what is your own or her own? You want people to see me so that whenever I look for another business.
So they are using the movies as a utility vehicle.
Thank you, exactly. So I looked at this and it pains me when people come and say, look, we need your films. When we thought that we had trained enough people to take over from us.
Yeah, because I was going to say, and I asked Peter Doche the same question. Is it that those of you that are very successful in the movies, that you're bad mentors?
No, we mentored a lot. In fact, some of those ones who did little, in the positive direction, were those who passed through some of us who, were gifted, so to speak. So I don't think it's not because of mentoring. It's because of the social malady that we are in these days. Everybody wants to get rich quick. So those people who want to advertise themselves or get this in want to do this so that they can get some goodies from outside to get rich.
Nkem, you can be described as a social critic, because if somebody follows your career and looks at the kind of scripts you wrote and looked at the kind of roles you played, you were one of those that wanted to question the conscience of society.
That's right.
To say whether the society is going well.
That's right.
When you look at our country, Nigeria, today, do you think that the ordinary Nigerian, even Nigeria as a country,
that's right,
that we are where we're supposed to be, that our leaders have really given a good account of themselves?
No, not. Even the leaders, I quote them, were those people who come into this industry to just, like our leaders, some come into the politics for what they are going to do. Just a few that has conscience. They just come into so when they come and acquire those things that they acquire and people are looking at them from the flanks, they would want, their ambition now turns to, let me reach where this man has gotten to.
So you're not excited about what's going on?
I am not excited about Nigerian politics and the way the thing is going. I have some friends amongst them, and there are some good politicians, I must say. But if you check it, generally speaking, I normally think, say, Nigerian political system is diseased.
Nkem, talking with you, time seems to run, And, but let me ask you, successful in your career, successful in business, successful in almost every facet of life.
By the grace of God.
What has been your guiding principles?
Well, my guiding principle is like, never be contented with what you have. That's number one. Struggle to achieve what you want to achieve with what you have. I don't have to go and pretend in order to achieve those things. That's the general saying, use what you have to get what you want. So when I found out that I could use this talent, the people said, I pursued it. I kept my certificate under the box, and so I have always believed that I was coming from a rough edge. The higher I go, no matter how many steps, it's better than where I was coming from.
Are you fulfilled? Do you feel a kind of fulfillment?
I am supposed to be fulfilled. But when you are fulfilled and there are people who are flanking you who are not fulfilled, are not even getting to this, you find out that your fulfillment is half measure.
Okay, just give me a minute. Let's take a break and then bring our footnote for today. And so somewhere at the University of Benin, a statue has emerged. This statue shows Nigeria's modern-day justice system as depicted by a fine art student of the University of Benin, Edo State. This statue represents justice in the eyes of the artist as seen at Uniben's Ekehuan campus. Traditionally, the figure of justice is portrayed as a blindfolded woman holding balanced scales in one hand and a sword in the other, symbolizing the impartiality, the fairness, and the power to enforce the law. However, this statue at University of Benin, which is trending, is holding an unbalanced scale in the left hand, with the right hand raised high, holding a giant metallic sack of money marked with a dollar and naira sign representing so much corruption and injustice in Nigeria. This statue appears to be a bold artistic critique of Nigeria's justice system. It visually communicates public sentiment that justice in the country may be influenced by money or status rather than fairness and equality. By placing this sculpture on our university campus, it also likely serves as a conversation starter for young students and academics and future leaders to reflect on the current state of law and justice. The Nigerian justice system, designed to uphold fairness, rule of law, and protect the rights of every citizen, is today caught between constitutional ideals and harsh realities of injustice. This is a mirror held up to the nation's conscience to delve into the challenges of corruption, justice delayed, access to justice denied, prison reforms, and the unsung heroes pushing for change, justice, truth, and reform. Kudos to that unknown sculptor that we are chasing, who has pointed us in the direction that we need to do the right thing. But just before we go, Nkem Owoh, what is your last word? And meanwhile, happy 70th birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
What's your last word?
Well, my last word to me should go to the leaders of this country. It saddens me when I see the way governance is going in this country. Even though I have been favored to eat 3 square meals a day, but the way, when I see things that are done with such impunity and no recourse, no consequence, and we're still trudging on, that was why I think Nigeria is not moving forward. We are tumbling forward. Because if we had been moving forward, it has to be symmetrical. But when you are tumbling, your hand comes out first. After the first tumble, they will say, those who love hands will say, well, then your head comes, the second one.
Like so, 1 step forward, 5 steps backward.
Exactly.
Nkem Owoh, thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
And we have a little present for you.
Oh, wow.
For coming.
Yes. Thank you very, very much.
And happy 70th birthday.
God bless you.
And we wish you many more years.
Thank you. I will accept it.
And I hope you make us smile even more.
By the grace of God.
That's our show for today. It's been full day, your late night show on Signature TV. I am Vin Martin Obiora in Enugu, Nigeria. Thanking you for joining us and asking you that we are doing it again tomorrow at 11 p.m.
Thank you, Vin Martin Silo. Yes, old memories.
Thank you.
Thank you.